Before any cross-border transaction can move forward, we must locate our position within the foreign exchange architecture. That starts here, at F2, FEMA Residential Status. Consider the situation on the desk. A startup founder has recently relocated abroad, settling into a new life. Despite the move, she continues to participate in Indian share transactions and move money through her domestic bank accounts. But the advisory team handling her file has hit a wall. They cannot clear her transactions. Their roadblock stems from the foundational axiom of foreign exchange law. Every FEMA analysis begins with a person, not a form or a contract. The regulations apply differently depending on where that specific person is resident. Until the team can definitively classify this founder as a person resident in India or a person resident outside India, every subsequent compliance step, from pricing to reporting, remains blocked. The first diagnostic step in the file is defining exactly who the person is under the statute. FEMA's definition of a person covers everything from individuals to companies and branch offices. If our subject were a company, the residency rule is absolute. Any entity incorporated in India is a PRII. A foreign registered company is a PROI. For companies, there is no physical day count to track. But because our subject is a founder, an individual, we have to set the corporate rules aside. We must apply a specific individual test. Unlike corporate registration, individual status is fluid, requiring us to track physical presence and relocation intent. This timeline shows the first prong of the individual test. It is a backward-looking calculation. To determine someone's status this year, FEMA counts the days they were physically present in India during the preceding financial year. But the day count is only the starting point. The second prong, the intent override, operates simultaneously and can change the result instantly. If an individual leaves India to take up employment, start a business, or for any purpose indicating an intention to stay away for an uncertain period, they become a PROI on the exact day they depart. The previous year's day count is set aside. This departure logic is what defines the status of NRIs and OCIs. Under FEMA, they are strictly categorized as PROI, which dictates their permissible investment schedules and limits under the non-debt instrument rules. Relying strictly on physical day counts often leads to a misclassification. In FEMA, it is the intent behind the move that serves as the trigger for reclassifying an individual's legal status. This brings us back to the tax team's paralysis. They reached a deadlock because they attempted to solve a SEVA problem using the logic of the Income Tax Act. This diagram illustrates the divergence. The two statutes use different mechanical tests. Income tax focuses heavily on day counts in the current year. FEMA prioritizes the preceding year and the immediate intent carve-outs. This creates a liminal year. A person can simultaneously be a taxable resident in India while qualifying as a person resident outside India for FEMA purposes. These statutes operate independently. For any cross-border file, we cannot use income tax residency as a proxy for FEMA residency. Once we apply the intent carve-out, we can see the founder became a PROI on her date of departure. Now, the analysis turns to the operational consequences. On the date her status changed, her resident account had to be redesignated as an NRO account. As a PROI, she can open NRE or FCNRB accounts for foreign remittances. Operating a standard resident account after departing contravenes FEMA deposit regulations, requiring formal compounding. By establishing the correct PROI status and redesignating the bank accounts, the team satisfies the regulatory conditions for the transaction. The founder's cross-border transactions can now move forward legally. By the time you finish this module, 3 capabilities will become clear. First, you will be able to apply the PRI and PROI framework accurately to both individuals and entities. Second, you will use the 182-day rule and the intent carve-outs to determine exactly when a status change occurs. And third, you will identify the account and transaction consequences that are triggered the moment FEMA residency changes. Open the file on your desk, begin Module F2, and execute your first residential status analysis.